It was at the end of August in 1949 that I joined Allard's. Mr. Shelford, who was then the works manager, took me on as an inspector at Park Hill Works. Having been a keen amateur photographer for some years, I soon started bringing my camera in to work. In between my inspection duties, I took a shot of any unusual or interesting models that I saw. This is an example of the model type M2X. According to Tom Lush's book, there was only 25 of this model made. Of course, I sometimes caught a human model. This is another version of the model. It had a one-piece lift-up bonnet. I believe there was only 3 of this type made. This is a shot of the first P2 chassis frame with temporary wings and bonnet for test purposes. Dudley Hume is at the wheel. Here he has been joined by one of the fitters, and Jimmy Minion is behind the car. Then I think Dudley left the workers to carry on with it. This shot, like the previous ones, was taken on the forecourt in front of the stores. Ginger, the store manager, is in the doorway with his storeman holding a case. And seated inside in the background, you can just see an inspector. And this is a P2 chassis. Looks as if it's ready to go to the coachworks. It's in the driveway leading down to the bottom shop. In the background is the steps leading up to the drawing office. Alf Gaskin was responsible for the assembly of front axles, with apprentices for help. His colleague at the next bench built a number of sub-assemblies: fuel tanks, pedal gear, and steering gears, again with the help of an apprentice. This is the first Safari estate body on the P2 chassis, notable for having two side doors. These shots were taken outside the Park Hill works. Another shot to show the one-piece bonnet open. Later on, Reg Canham sent me out to take photos required for publicity and sales purposes. These were taken on Clapham Common. This was an attempt to show the 3 rows of seats. I'm never sure whether it was a good idea to leave the driver's door window down, but all the brochures that are made using this photo have left it down. Some of them have touched out the reflections in the side windows though. I did all my own developing and enlarging in the spare bedroom of our flat, so I was pleased how well my photos reproduced in these brochures and so forth. The front compartment and dashboard of the P2 Safari. This shows the right-hand gear change. And this shows the lever for the hydraulic bonnet lifting arrangement. The P2 saloon. These two shots taken by the Thames at Putney. The prototype Palm Beach chassis with temporary wings set up for road test. This is outside the works at Park Hill. These shots to show the details of the rear axle and suspension arrangements. And now several shots of the Palm Beach. This is by the River Thames at Putney. And this is the Red Ram, again by the Thames at Putney. I think you can just see Red Ram on the rocker cover. "120 mph speedometer fitted." And now for something rather different. Two large United States Air Force staff cars in front of the Park Hill Works. And here are the two United States Air Force generals examining a safari. Sales manager Dave Davis on the left and Reg Cannon in the middle. Inside the works at Park Hill. From American generals to British schoolboys. Pupils from the local school paying close attention to Dick Reed. These photos were taken in the bottom shop. Here you can see the roller conveyor system on which the chassis were moved by hand. I hadn't got a reliable flash system. I didn't generally feel it necessary, but there were occasions when it might have been better. Tom Lush, Ted Poole. This young lady was a member of the head office staff. Mrs. Eleanor Allard at the Clapham High Street head office after the Monte Carlo triumph. Sydney after his Monte Carlo triumph. Tom Cole. J2X chassis showing the quick change rear axle. Three of these quick change axle units lined up. Zora Dontov setting off on test. Here he looks a bit more relaxed. MXF 974 appears several times. Here it is on Clapham Common. Same car with a different carburetor air intake and with a different race number. These were taken on the forecourt in front of the Park Hill Works. Here Tom Lash is at the wheel. As he says in his book, he was about to leave for a production sports car race at Silverstone. The car was in fact the 1952 Le Mans car, owned by Curtis. Silverstone. It's quite fascinating looking through the official programme of this 1950 Daily Express trophy meeting. Official programme, 1 shilling. Just 2 of the famous drivers taking part. No fireproof overalls and crash helmets here. This picture, included in that programme, shows the start of the 1949 production car race. For the 1950 race, I had to make do with a position in the public enclosures on the outside of the track, so my photos aren't very good. This number 23 is Curtis. Number 21, according to the programme, was Warburton, but I've crossed it out and written in Harrison. And here Sydney is leading Raymond Sommer in an Aston Martin DB2 through Woodcote Corner. In 1952, I was included in the Allard Works contingent for this meeting. With my official mechanic armband, I was able to photograph from the inside of the track. The start of the touring car race. Ken Wharton in the Healey leading, and Sydney's just ahead of Sterling Moss in the Mark 7 Jaguar. There's an Alvis behind, and I think you can see another Healey and a Riley. Now 3 shots of Sydney at Copse Corner. I don't think I was ever quite as brave as the photographer in this shot. Now to the production sports car race. This is Sydney at Copse Corner. And again, but taking a rather wider line. At speed on the straight. Number 48, Watkins. Number 50, Hitchings. Here we have Watkins leading Hitchens through Copse Corner and Lance Macklin, the Aston Martin behind. And number 49, Curtis in his Le Mans car. In 1953 I was again invited to join the Allard contingent for the International Daily Express Trophy meeting. This time, however, I was given a badge as a competitor. This shot shows Sydney after he'd gone off into these straw bales on the previous lap. Unfortunately, it's the only one I can find of an Allard from that day's racing. There are 2 things which stick in my memory about the journeys up to Silverstone. The one occasion, travelling with Tom Lush in the Safari, the police wanted him to take a detour because of traffic problems, but he persuaded them that we were key men needed urgently at the circuit, so he got us through in record time. The other occasion, sitting behind Mrs. Eleanor Allard, who was driving, I noticed that no one passed us, but everything which we came up to, she passed. In early February 1954, I got the letter from Reg Canham. Owing to adverse trading conditions, we are compelled to reduce our staff, and so forth. So after 4.5 years of happy and very interesting work, my association with Allard's ended. But not quite, because in 1984 I discovered the Allard Owners Club. A special concourse is usually arranged by the club each summer. These photos were taken during the meeting held at the home of a notable Allard owner and club member, Brian Sharp, just outside the picturesque village of Broadway. So now, instead of test chassis and new demonstrators, we can see some well-used and beautifully restored cars, together with some of their proud owners. In August 1990, it was at Woburn Abbey that the Allard Owners Club, together with a number of other clubs, held their annual gathering as part of the event organised by the Historic Commercial Vehicle Society. I'm trying to get the important people on film.
Oh, I see. Well, we're not very important, but I take the can back. I'm the club captain, a Allard Owners Club captain. I've been for 2 or 3 years, and I'm going to judge with Tony Batt. Tony Batt and I are going to judge the cars today. We have a criterion mark sheet here, and we will mark the cars on a set scale so that everybody knows how their car has been marked, and they'll get a score sheet.
Brian, how's things? It's the minor one, but it's the same thing. Help with the spanners. Oh, these are the...
You are?
Mike Knapman.
Yes.
Mainly a P1 driver, but various other cars in the stable under restoration.
Mainstay of organising the dinners for many years, very successfully.
And who are you?
I'm Jerry Organ. I'm in charge of the archives really, the club library. Take care of all the paperwork, anything that's printed I try and get a copy of or try and get an original of for future reference basically. If anybody wants information on the car, they can get in touch with me.
No, I'm trying to get the important people on film.
All right.
So, who are you?
I'm Paul Harvey.
And you're...
The club historian.
Yes.
Just give you the history of the cars and the white one.
My name's Sylvia Hayes and I own the Roger Red J1. And competition secretary, trophy, yes, we do the trophies and the competition work and the spares. Tweet. Sheila Killer, editor of the magazine producer, treasurer, general factotum. Part owner of very fast J2, not here today.
And why is it not here today?
Because it's a racing one. And it's not a concourse car by any stretch of the imagination.
And what do you do for Allards?
Which one's yours? That one.
I want to get the important people on film. Will you oblige?
Of course. How do you want me to pose?
This is Brian Sharp, I interrupted at tea time. Tell me how many Allards you've got.
Only 10.
How do you find time to look after them all?
Don't. You don't.
Right, and who are you then?
Oh dear.
Mr. Fix-It.
Did somebody say Mr. Fix-It?
He said.
Oh, he helped my fitter chappy with the engine, mechanical part. That's the one that does the body panel.
Oh dear, I'm screwing up with you.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, what I've done is
Do you enjoy your work?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of it. Get a lot of pleasure out of doing this. We've done 7 more. Yeah, we're on the 8th. Stripped everything out with screw, stripped out. You can come down and see them in the...
Yes, I saw this one when it was right stripped down.
Yeah. We got another one that we're undoing now. M series. And the woodwork, we took the top off. Woodwork just fell out.
Yeah. The worms have got at it.
Worms?
Yeah. Powder. Got it all powder.
Yeah. 3 months.
Yeah.
Almost completed.
I'll check you on.
Well, you don't get it cold in the field,
Get another one then, isn't it?
Right there, then. That's an old wall.
Yeah, the old food service. There's one sale in the village just recently.
In 1992, the Allard Owners Club was well represented at the Prescott Speed Hill climb held on the 31st of May.
back out. This particular one was right back to 1934.
This is Pardon Hairpin. I couldn't record whether that's what Joe Clegg said as he ran into the sand trap.
Yeah, I do think so.
While we will all agree that the most interesting cars at the meeting were the Allards, there were a few others of note. The oldest was the Hispano-Suiza of 1912.
And number 3, this is a 924 Brescia Bugatti. This is a car that the Royals are on the line is number 232. This is Steve Conway in the just come to go home. Knowledge of the Allard driver. 4.91 is the Allard count time. Push back a little bit.
Yes, this is the finish. That is all the Allard story that I've recorded so far. I hope to be able to record more Allard activities in the future, and perhaps, if I improve my interviewing technique, some members might be willing to talk to camera with anecdotes and reminiscences. That was in 1993. Now, 3 years on, September the 8th, 1996, the annual concourse and get-together was held at Broadway in Worcestershire, initially meeting for lunch at the Horse and Hounds pub. The little car park at the rear was soon overflowing with Allards and their owners, plus some interested locals.
Well, the one that you see, probably talking about possibly, yeah.
The next part of the event was to get the cars out onto the road and to dodge all the local tourist traffic. From the cramped conditions at the pub, members drove to this extensive paddock at Bibbsworth House, the home of Brian and Bobby Sharp.
I like this number actually. It's an Imhoff number, isn't it? Yeah. Imhoff number. With a 5 on it. No, Imhoff. Got to be Imhoff. Got to be Imhoff. Always had a 5.
Do a lot of these things floating without looking at, you know.
He sent us a photograph that his father had taken of this one at a meeting before the war. And as clear as anything, it was like taken from this angle, it was as clear as anything, it was about 2.5 inches lost into it.
Don't appear to be getting into the cylinder.
It was originally 6-hole, and they kept it exactly.
Here. How did you do that?
I was going to bring it today, but somebody said, no, I don't think you ought to, because you won't make the show.
Yeah. They break, then you do everything. Well, I find engine and gearbox out the front.
Problem is that it's not kind of doing what I expected it to do.
They always do what you least expect them to.
How far have you come from?
Devices.
Yeah.
Not very far. No. It's the farthest I've been actually. Nearly went down to West Wales a fortnight ago, but traffic was bad enough. I'm a bit wary. But he's still running a bit hot at the moment. So we're still running.
I forget his name.
Which
Well,
I had my first Allard 1955. What was that? Sorry, L. Somebody that jumped there but never get rid of it. They went through a period when no one wanted them. Well, yes, I sold it. I moved it this way. I lived in Bedford when I bought it.
Oh, sorry. You're very welcome.
We'll give you another Let's get it there. No, that won't last a while. Yeah. We've got those pieces.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you all so much for coming, because this is the bestest set together of Allards that I've seen for probably 30 years. Never seen as many as this. I think there's a very special thank you to Brian and Bobby Shire for putting on such a super time, and the surroundings and the atmosphere and the ambience of today has been super. Are you yawning, man? I've only just started. I would also like this opportunity to thank Ron Jenkins on behalf of Kerry Horan for the help that they're giving to the club. And a special thank you that I'm sure you'd all join me with in wishing Sheila to make us another cake next time. Shirley, I've got lumbered with the Sheila for 40 years. I try to call all my women friends Sheila and I don't get in any more trouble. Who else is I going to thank? There's loads of people I want to thank because it's just such a super day for me. You probably would like to know some of the results. So why don't I get on now to do the results? Because today we're honoured with Allard, who is going to give the awards. And thank you very much for coming. Brilliant. Well, we saw him in the pub. It was a knockout. Fantastic. Now, some of our awards then. The best overall has gone to Dave Lovey's P1. Well done, Dave. Yeah, thank you. Well done, Dave. The award for the best open car goes to a very old friend of ours. I don't know if there's any collusion in this, but this guy's been with Allards more years than I care to remember. He's done a fantastic job on the car. Keith Baker with the Palm Beach. Fiddle, yeah. I'll see you afterwards, Keith. Well done. The best close goes to our host, Brian Sharp's Safari. Okay. I'm going to ruin my tan. The best special or replica goes to Brian Salmon with his J2X2. Well done, Brian. Actually, looking through the votes awarded, Brian achieved the greatest number of votes of anybody. He got 33 votes, which is pretty near unanimous. Best other make, Malcolm Collins with the Cobra. Is that the second one you won here? Well, cheerio. The car that you would most like to take home was Roger Gilk's pre-war, the FGF 290. We desperately tried to get. We can't win concourse awards. We thought we'd get the best distance travelled by going around the square a few times, but that didn't work. And instead, it went to Simon Wilson with 230 miles. Well done. Well, that concludes the awards. Thank you all so much for supporting the club. You can see the improvement standard and the wonderful cars presented here today. Thank you all so much for making it a success. Thank you. Each car has been awarded a plaque, so if you would care to come up, Sylvia or Alan will give you a plaque for your car. Please don't leave before you've got your plaque, okay? And we had a slight inaccuracy with the estimation of attendance, so we would respectfully ask or state that committee members will not get their plaques today because we haven't got enough to go round. First come, first served. Thank you very much.
After such a wonderful day, members now returned to their cars and prepared for the journey home.
Coffee.